Let's just do a quick review of last week. What did we do last week? It's called Ikkyo. So first technique, Ikkyo. We'll just go through it with our partner a few times to do what we can remember and to refresh our memories. So here we're moving in, catching the arm here, coming around, taking his balance from him, stepping all the way around to the ground here. On the other side, in, stepping down. We talked about the shifting of the weight. So if he's grabbing really hard and I'm moving in, shifting my weight first to here, and then I'm using that to move his arm, shifting my weight to my left leg. Now, look at all my powers coming from my left leg, and now I use that to come up and over and down. So we were talking about the energy moving up and down when we're doing this exercise in the Tai Chi class, and this exercise in the Tai Chi class. So think about the same thing in Ikkyo. First thing I do is I shift my weight to the front leg and watch my hand. It doesn't matter how hard he holds. I'm just going to shift in and relax and use my body. Now I'm shifting into my left foot to take him off balance, and this is the pushing up. But now I'm going to go over. So we have the same kind of position here. Now, like I was showing you earlier, with this position, right? Connecting to the ground and pushing him down. So the same thing happens with Ikkyo. I get to this position, and if he tries to lift up, I'm connecting to the ground in the same way as before. I'm using that as leverage. So all those things we eventually want to add into our technique. But the basic one, here, getting around, control. From same side grab, we were stepping out, picking up the hand here, right, moving in. We had a couple different ways to do this, but in all of them, we were taking his balance, extending his body, and using proper dynamic here. So the first thing I did is take him off balance. Trap. Now I'm going to use my weight shifting in, and that should go forward. Right? And then, did we do the punch last week? Yeah, I think we did. So punching, really basic punching defense. If you want to try that, if not, that's okay. Punch again. So we can do this way. This is a really basic kind of flow punch, and then a more advanced one would be here, right, where I come in with the actual block punch here. We did, something different. That was fun. So what did he do? He came through me, boom, like this, right? So what's the next movement? If I don't like him, elbow strike to the head. But anyway, normal one here. Okay, so any of those, all of them or any of them, just as a review. So there's an off-balancing that happens in the technique. And when you first start Aikido or this kind of martial art, you generally tend to do bigger off-balancing movements. So for example, I might actually use my body weight, keep my arm relaxed, right, and kind of shift and get him really off balance. And then I know that I can come in and take him with Ikkyo. And that's fine. The better you get, the more subtle your off balances become. Like this here is enough to take his balance, right? Boom. And it's just here, this right here. It's just here. So just this little movement. If you see any movement in the shoulders, you can tell that they've lost their balance. So in the beginning, you might see some big movements, right? Where you're really trying to pull him off balance and then move in or something else, take him maybe this way. But the more you practice this, the more sensitive you get, the more you'll be able to make little off balances, and that will still compromise his structure, and you're able to control it. Okay, so that was the Ikkyo stuff. Now, Nikkyo, we'll start with a very basic movement. So just relax. We're just going to go around the wrist like this. So the very basic movement, just going around the wrist and back. So that's going to end up becoming a joint manipulation, and this hurts because I'm decreasing the angle of the wrist here, right, as much as possible. That stretches out the tendons and ligaments. That's where the pain comes in, because that's where the nerves are. So here, this is normal, doesn't feel pain. You start to stretch. When you get to the point where he's not flexible, that's when he starts to feel the pain. This is what we're taking advantage of, this angle, but then we're also adding a second bend to it, and this is where it really starts to get painful because everything is stretched out and all the nerves are being affected. So, how does that work then? This is the position we want. We want this bent, and we want this here, okay? So if I bring my hand up, this movement creates the first bend. See that? And then moving this movement creates the second bend. Now, why do people not do this very well? Because they don't reduce the angle of the hand. Let's go a little bit closer. Okay, so here, if I come in like this, and this is where you see most of the Nikkyos that are sort of effective but not completely effective are here. Some people will tap. A lot of people will tap if they're not flexible. Let's see. Stephen will not. Okay, but he's done this for a while and he's pretty strong. So what is happening here is they're doing the basic movement. Like, it looks the same, right? It looks very similar, but they're blocking the bend of the wrist here and making that angle stay wider than it has to be. Do you see what I'm saying? I'm actually putting my hand in the way of this bend and preventing him from bending as far as possible. So I'm actually putting a little governor on there, you know? I'm stopping that bend myself, and that's making my technique less effective. So I have to clear that, and the way you do that is get the hand all the way around. So it's not here. This looks like the Nikkyo, but it's not. The Nikkyo is actually here. So once I get to this point, there's nothing, there's very little, just my small wrist here, blocking that, and the rest of it is clear. So I can get to a very small angle here, and then start to manipulate this way.
So what if you let go?
What's that?
What do you do?
Okay. The question is, what if he lets go? So if I'm really trying to defend myself and I trap, so first of all I'm going to trap the hand to get the control. And if I'm good at trapping the hand, so he tries to pull back. Go ahead. All right? So he pulls back, now go slow. Watch when he slow pulls up. If I react when he pulls back, what happens? As he pulls back, so I take the Nikkyo and he's going to try to pull away from it, and that's going to add, oh sorry, that's going to make it worse. Now, what happens if he lets go and I can't control it? Here. So we actually teach this Nikkyo when we come in with a middle block and come over like this, because now if he lets go, what have I trained myself to do? Follow with a punch. Right, and it's this fast. Okay. So, letting go is okay. In fact, on the lower level, on a pure self-defense level, it might be better for me to get him to let go, because this, if you don't trap, this is a release. This is a breaking of the grip technique, right? So if I just want to break his grip, I just do this. But if I want to control him, because I can, then I come in like this. Okay? So slowly, we'll just go. I'll tell you what, let's start with the basic one with the block. We did the middle block already tonight, remember? One. So remember this one? In the warm-ups and the practice? So just do that. One. Make sure you can see your palm, because the next movement is going to be punch. So the punch is a vertical punch. So you're just going to go middle block, vertical punch. Watch my hips though. One. Hip movement number one. One. Hip movement number two. Two. See that? It's all on one leg. Okay. This is we'll do more, but we'll start with this one because I think this one's very easy. Boom. Just do it just like this. Don't take shortcuts. Don't go like this. Okay, don't take any shortcuts. Do the entire middle block exactly as you would be doing it if you're blocking a punch. Just like this. And then roll it over into a vertical punch where your fist is vertical like this. Okay? Let's try that. let's do a Nikkyo with a more traditional style Nikkyo. And this is going to mean getting the hand all the way through and wrapping around his arm in your imagination. So we're not like thinking about any kind of crazy energy. We're just using visualization to make sure that our hands are in the right angle. So again, it's not here. I want to get around his arm, and now I'm working in a kind of like I'm wrapping it through his arm, wrapping around his arm into his body. And that's the point. It's not a wrist technique. There's no such thing as a wrist technique in Aikido. Every technique is on the entire body. Every technique that I do, I use my entire body, and I attack or defend against his entire body. Nothing about wrist or arms or legs. And so, as I'm moving in, I'm moving into his body, extending into him from the feet all the way up, foot, knee, hip, and that movement. Now, how do you get the angle, the perfect angle? You just got to get the hand around. Forget about what the hand is doing. It needs to be the position of the wrist. So the hand can be completely relaxed and extend the hand so that the wrist goes past his wrist. And now we start to make a spiral around his arm. And it doesn't matter where you are. I can shift. I can do it from this leg, right? I can do it from this leg. I can change the angle.
Can we see those all again?
Don't hesitate.
I mean with hands.
So that's the idea, and that's the reason why I started by talking about the angles of the wrist. Because it doesn't matter what you're doing with your hands, as long as you're attacking, you're bending the hand as far as it can go this way. So I'm bending the hand at the wrist here, and then applying this pressure here. If you can do that, you can do Nikkyo. So what is this? This is just another variation of Nikkyo, where you can clearly see, because you don't have your hands in a different position, you can clearly see this angle, very small, and this starts to happen. I believe it's easier for people to learn how to do this one. We'll do that one later. Into his body, right? This is what I was thinking about. We were talking about this before. I'm directing through his body. And if I keep going, where's he going to go? Okay. Now we're going to do a simple same side grab version of the Nikkyo. We want to step off line first. And again, this is that little bit of off balancing. I can go here. I can go here. Pretty open. I like going forward a little bit sometimes because I can move me in closer for the punch. Backward gets you away from his strike a little bit. So these are all options. What do you not want to do? You 100% don't want to do this. This is not the best, but it can work because what am I doing? I'm getting out a little bit out of the way of the punch here, although he can still come in with his step. So preferably to this side, but we can make other sides work. I'm just going to move in, trap, and come around, and do the same thing I just did, except on the other hand. So the idea is the same. I'm going to move in. I'm going to reduce the angle here so that it stretches the tendons and ligaments out as far as possible. And then I'm going to cut back. Thanks for watching again. So not here. A lot of people do this. Again, don't touch the forearm. So we do the first Nikkyo. There's no reason to touch his forearm. Same with this one. If I touch the forearm, it's not going to work. But you see a lot of this. I don't touch the forearm. I go past it. So same thing with same side grab. I'm not going to come in and do this. Although some people might tap when you do this to them, it's not going to work on a lot of people. We would only have to touch the forearm. We come in here. So just, if you're shifting in and doing an atemi, here this works. This hand can go right into the trap. Here. Now look at my direction. And which foot am I using? I can do left foot. I can do right foot. I would probably do left or outside foot, right foot going this way, right foot, but you can shift in. That's the thing about one foot or the other. If I'm on one foot and I want to shift into my right foot and punch at the same time, you see that? I'm already set up for stuff, all sorts. Scared me. I thought I heard him. He was just being grunty and old. Okay.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, one more time. Here, here, here. Okay. Okay, so this is a little bit more complicated to get into, but executing it at the end is easier, and I showed you already this one. We're going to step out, striking, pick up the hand here, and again, we don't forget about all of our other principles. So if I'm moving in like this, I'm still using my body and using my weight, pushing off from the ground, shifting my weight properly, because I want to still have control all the way through, even though I'm not doing an Ikkyo. So this first part is just like when you do Ikkyo, we move here, we come in, we use our weight. We don't just grabbing the arm like he's going to go like that. We're actually using our weight, taking his balance, controlling him all the way to here. Now, the only difference is when I get to this point, maybe I change my mind and I switch into an arm lock here. Okay? So now you see very clearly the bend here in the wrist, and now once I bring this in to lock it in and turn, you see the other angle bend. Right? So here, and just pick it up, moving in, taking balance, controlling him the whole way. Well, you want to do this faster, obviously, in the street, but I can do it slow and maintain control because I'm keeping him off balance. And then I move in here. This hand has to lock the upper arm in. I'm sorry, lock the forearm in. This hand, it's just propped up against the hand here. Doesn't have to. You don't have to have a grip. You're not controlling his hand by grabbing it. You're controlling his hand by pressing it into this hand. Right? I can actually do this without even grabbing his hand. So this, don't let this be the thing that controls. You see how it's stuck here and here. Now, if I want to take him down, I'm not going to do too hard, but see, this will start to cut if I go. Right? It's a difficult takedown for the uke, so spare Steve that one. Is that one Steve? Boom here. One. You can do it a temi here. You can do a temi here. This is the point. Okay. This is a good control technique. I can walk in. Right. Four. Okay, questions? Okay, last one. This is he's standing facing the same way. So it's like someone standing next to you, whatever situation it is, and he grabs your arm here. This literally happened to one of our friends from Charleston when she was out. It was out of the bar, and a guy grabbed her like this. And all you do is trap the hand here, all right, and then come over the arm. Now, what happens when I come over this arm? Bends that wrist here. Now look at the angle of that bend. So if I only go this far, see, that's not going to work. I have to get my elbow past his forearm. See, so don't come in here with the elbow just to here, because I'm not making a big enough angle. The elbow slides past his forearm. Now I reduce that angle. And now all I got to do is add the second angle. Yep. Okay. And remember, we do this in the class. Same thing here. All right, I'm coming up with my feet and down. See, it's not the sinking that's doing it, it's the pressing up after the sink. See that? So the sink just gets me into place, but no. Right? On the other side. Okay, so again, trapping, to move over. Now, what happens if he lets go? If you just want it to be a grip release, what happens if he lets go? Oh, that sucks. Right? So if I go, and he lets go. Oh, that was pretty interesting.
Or he holds on.
Or he doesn't actually understand what's happening and he holds on,
It
right?
is. There's a bit
Yeah.
of confusion.
That can happen because people in the moment don't really understand. It doesn't happen in the dojo because he knows what I'm going to do, right? But he didn't know what I was going to do that time, so he kind of held on. That was interesting. So that could happen. But anyway, this is generally you trap here to hold on, come all the way over, again, past the forearm, and then there. Okay.